David George Saint's playing style exhibits bebop, jazz, funk, bluegrass, and more. Today, I talk one-on-one with the full-time musician and multi-instrumentalist for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. David George Saint, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
What's going on?
Oh, it's going great. Needless to say, you are the lead guitarist and full-time musician based here in Charleston. Your playing style exhibits elements of bebop, funk, blues, shred, jazz, and bluegrass. So tell me, David, what's new, what's now with your music?
So right now I'm kind of in, I would say like a cocoon stage, and kind of like I'm getting ready for my next transformation. You know, I'm playing lead guitar with like lots of like wedding bands and lots of cover bands, and I love that. But I'm really trying to separate from that and kind of become my own entity, and then do this like solo instrumental thing full time, and then put everything else on the back burner so I can kind of create my own name. You know, like I'm an entity that's a part of things, but I'm not the thing. So I'd also like to be a thing and then work on that process.
And tell me about that process right now. What resources are you using for this transformation?
Well, currently I'm just playing one little like solo instrumental gig at a place called Rita's on Folly Beach. And that kind of happened just by happenstance, and almost like it was serendipitous, because they had a bunch of cancellations, and the manager just happened to be a close friend of mine. Was like, "Hey, would you like to fill this position?" And I was like, "Sure." And as I was filling that position, I was like, "I really enjoy this." And I've had other offers and done the same kind of thing, and it's just been something I've really enjoyed.
That is really, really amazing. That is really great to hear as well. So talk to me about those those other offers. How do you approach that from your particular standpoint?
Well, I've always like played lots of venues, and I just never thought to reach out to people that ran the venue or the booking or anything like that. I always just kind of considered that a part of the person that, you know, owned the band. That was their job. So I never really pursued that. And I've started pursuing that. It's just like talking to a person. Like it's not a big deal. Whenever money's involved, you just have the conversation. It's not a tough conversation to have.
Right.
You tell them what you're worth. If they agree, they hire you. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. Like, you know, like you have a price that you think you're worth. You're saying, hey, I can bring people if I need to, but if it's just like a bar gig, we don't even have to bring anyone. You know, you post on social media, let people know you're playing. You know, you go through the steps, and then like you play your gig, you do the best that you can, and you hope they call you back.
Yeah, absolutely. And what conversation is happening right now when it comes to the state of live local music, David?
I mean, there really aren't any bad conversations. You know, right now the season's ramping up. There are going to be way more tourists here. The only thing that I'm hearing is how busy we're all going to be, and
Yes.
and the people that are doing a really good job, and they're staying on their game, and they're keeping up with the new songs that come out, and also they know lots of material. Those are the people that are going to forge ahead, you know. And then the people that are kind of staying in the same place, they're going to stay in the same place, you know. That's all I'm really hearing as of now. I'm not really hearing anything bad, though. It's just we're all just getting ready to be busy.
Yes. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Trending wise, David, what particular genre are you keeping your eyes on as far as new songs?
I really like Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh,
I think that I like her kind of sassy, because like her song "Please, Please, Please,"
right.
you think is like her begging, but it's really like her begging someone to not do something stupid, which I think that's awesome that someone's coming from that standpoint. Of course, like SZA, I love Kendrick Lamar, always have, always will. He's awesome. So like, you know, the rap, I'm always hearing really interesting chords in rap, and they seem to be taking that different directions. Also, like pop songs in general, they're kind of headed a different way. You know, they're starting to get a little more complex harmonically, so I'm kind of into that. And I mean, that's pretty much it. Like my guy Stevie Wonder. I'm always hoping the new Stevie Wonder is going to come out. You know,
Yes.
the new Stevie. That's what I'm
Yes.
always hoping for.
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully that'll come soon as well. But let me ask you, David, and this is a redundant question, but how do you hope to take your music in a different direction in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I never really wrote originals,
Mm,
um, and I've just been getting a lot of universal pulling from people. I went and jammed with a guy that runs a camp for like Steve Vai and like those upper echelon players, and I went and jammed with him. And he would pick up the guitar when he plays something. I was like, "Oh man, that sounded like Steve Vai." He's like, "That's something I wrote." And I was like, "Something you wrote sounds like something Steve Vai would play." I was like, "I never thought of that." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Your influences can live in your originals. There's nothing saying they can't." And I've just had a lot of people kind of pushing me that direction. And I got a laptop for Christmas. I got like a new MacBook, and I got like speakers and like a little interface and everything set up. But it's the time, you know. I already have 4 records as far as like song titles and the record name. I already have them all written. I just haven't sat down and put pen to paper, so to speak.
right. Absolutely. Out of those song titles, David, which one of those song titles describes you as a musician?
So one day I plan on creating a record called Shade Tree Mechanic because we live in the South, and I just always thought that terminology was really cool. And I feel like that's what I am. You can hire a guy that went to Berkeley and knows all the things, or you can hire me and then I know what they know, and I feel like more of a palatable way, you know?
Right.
Like I don't mention like academics or anything because
Right.
there are none. So I feel like for me, Shade Tree Mechanic really represents me because I feel like that's what I am.
What is the biggest difference about your music from when you started to write down, David?
Um, I think it just got to a point where I realized, the Widdly Diddlies are really cool for me whenever it's the appropriate situation, or for like, because that's all when I first started, I just immediately hit the ground running. Like I didn't crawl. I tried to run as fast as I could before I could play. Um, so like I always wanted that fast thing, that Eddie Van Halen, that shreddy thing. But I feel like for now it's like I can turn that off completely, and I can really paint a pretty picture, not saying as much. So for now, I would say that like John Mayer had a big influence because John Mayer solos are sparse but perfect, especially in his first record, and that's kind of more what I'm shooting for now.
Wow. Well, have you actually understood yourself as a musician better through other people's music?
Absolutely. Um, I think that's what we all do. I think whenever we find the person that moves us more than everyone else, you absorb everything from that person. And then, in a way, you kind of encapsulate those ideas. But the way humans work is everything is subjective to the person learning it. So if someone's hearing a Stevie Wonder song and they're hearing it, let's say, wrong, and they go a different direction because they think he was doing this, but he was actually doing this, it affected them in a different way that wouldn't affect another person that, let's say, would be hearing what's right and then replicating it perfectly. And I think that's one of the coolest things about music is like once you find that person and you latch onto them, they make a huge impact on your playing forever. You'll never lose it, you know?
Let me ask you this, Dan. Who is David George Sink in the studio?
David George Sink in the studio is a perfectionist. When I'm hearing what I'm supposed to do,
Right.
I hear what I should have done. As I'm playing what I think is a good take, I'm already thinking like 5D chess, like, I should have done this. And I'm like, hey, stop it. Let me do it again. And then same thing happens next take. I'm like, stop it. Let me do it again. Like it's one of those things where I know exactly what I want and I know exactly how I want to do it. And then I figure it out. I figure it out like real time. And I'm one of those people like, I'm like, hey, give me a second. Let me work out an idea. And I can hear the song in my head. And I'm like, all right, let me come up with this really perfect line that not only encapsulates like the melody, but also like has my flair on it. And I'm real serious with that stuff.
Wow, that's really, really amazing. Well, let me ask you this, David. And this is something I wanted to ask you earlier, but what new style of acoustics do you want to incorporate into your music?
What new style of acoustics?
Yes, sir.
What do you mean?
Yes, sir. Let me ask you, what other instruments do you want to use to incorporate into your music?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm teaching myself how to play banjo.
Ah,
I've been playing banjo for about probably 5 or 6 years, just kind of under wraps, because I don't like sharing the other instruments that I play. Because when I play them, I feel like people are like, "That ain't the way you're supposed to do that. You're not supposed to play banjo with your fingers. You're supposed to use all these picks." And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
right.
Anyways, I'm just very non-conventional when it comes to that stuff. But I'd like to put some banjo. I'd like to put some lap steel. I play bass. I just bought a keyboard a couple months ago. I bought a Nord. So I mean, I'd also like to have a drum set in like a room where I could just go practice and like it not be super loud. You know, like I'd like to put on Kind of Blue by Miles Davis and just get brushes and just. I mean, I'd really like to do a Prince thing where I do a whole record by myself, and I think I could. I mean, I'm not a bad singer. I just
Right.
kind of just don't care to do it. I'm a great backup vocalist, so I mean, sky's the limit. If it's around me, I'm going to learn it. I mean, I've spent time playing mandolin. I learned how to play jazz standards on mandolin before I knew jazz.
Wow. Wow, that's really, really amazing. Speaking of backup, here in the Low Country, David, which local artist do you want to collaborate with next?
Hmm. I'd like to eventually collaborate with Elise Teston. I've met her. She seems really cool. But we seem to be like passing ships in the night and just like she'll be like, "Hey, you want to come play the poorhouse with me?" From like blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I got a wedding, you know. And then like I'll like reach out to her, and then she's got something going on, and then like I'll say I can, and then I'll pick something up, and it'll be a person that like really needs me. As for now, I think I've collaborated with all the people that I want to collaborate with, but I'm always down to try to collaborate with more. You know, I'm a very open guy. I'll learn your music. I'll become whatever vibe it is that you want me to become. I'll be a part of it. I'd like to join some type of experimental project with people that are willing to push the bounds of what music like is capable of. That's what I'd like to do. I'd like to take you know like a spaceship with a bunch of musicians and just do this, like play it like the poorhouse or something, and then
Right.
just take it to a completely different direction.
Oh, wow. Speaking of which, what new music do you want to learn next?
New music. Well, it's funny the term new. I just want to learn a bunch of that like really hard Stevie Wonder stuff that like people don't cover. Like I want to learn some of the stuff off of Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants. I'd like to learn some Chick Corea, maybe on the keys and the guitar. I mean that's kind of it. And like also too, like I'd like to learn some more of the '90s grunge stuff, strictly on the bass. And I play fretless bass,
Yes.
so I'd like to learn that kind of stuff. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
And I've
Yes.
been teaching myself jazz too,
Huh.
slightly.
Why now?
Um, because I'm starting to hear that jazz is more harmonically complex, and the more that like I take from jazz, the more complexity I'll have in my own playing, and the more tricks that I can use over a chord progression. So, like if I get bored of playing, let's say Valerie by Amy Winehouse, I can now superimpose chords from different, different keys and just like little like slight modulations that kind of push it a little bit,
Right.
and like basically accent things whenever the singer's not singing, so it doesn't affect the melody. So that kind of stuff.
Oh man, that's really, really amazing. Well, David George Saint, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome to
Absolutely,
Quintin's Close Ups.
that was awesome.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.